Okay, the mining tax, we've touched on it earlier, but now that we've heard from Ian Macfarlane, we know precisely what the tactic is. That is that, well, look, if there's going to be a mining tax, we'll try and limit the damage between now and then when we get elected, and then we'll take it away altogether. What do you make of that?
Well, if you want to limit the damage, don't facilitate its passage. I know there's a nuanced argument in this, but I just don't...
Well, it's not, I mean, they've obviously made the assumption that it's going to get through. And I think that's probably a fair assumption. If you've made that assumption, from their perspective, it seems to me perfectly reasonable to try to do something which, from their perspective, they think makes it better for the period of time that it will operate. I don't see that there's any sort of contradiction or complexity in that. It seems a perfectly reasonable tactic for an opposition to take.
Negative politics runs the view that worse is better, that if things are worse, you're more likely to win next time. But pragmatic politics regards better as better, and I think what Ian Macfarlane's saying is if they don't approve of it, but if they can get something better than what there is now, they should go along with it. I think that's very responsible.
But that's not his position, because he's saying we'll go along with it and then take it away after the election.
Well, if they can take it away, but what he's saying is... But he also said it'll be 18 months to 2 years before they get in, and he's concerned about if they get in, and he's concerned about that period. And, of course, they may not win, in which case this will be there forever. So it's better to have something that's better rather than to have something that's worse.
No, I thought it was there to counter that criticism. There's been a lot of it that they didn't put an alternative in place, and that would have been better. But he's insisting their alternative is still royalties. They're not insisting that the miners be taxed more through this process.
But it was interesting also what he said about royalties. I mean, they are paving the way for the idea that perhaps the state governments could, in some sort of coordinated way, raise royalties and raise more revenue that way, and I think that's an interesting, if subtle, shift in that there is now much more public support for the idea of some extra taxation on the super profits or on the profits of mining companies. So, I thought that was an interesting point that Ian Macfarlane made, and maybe a precursor of a policy position to be done in coordination with the state sometime in the future.
And if you were fair dinkum too on this front, the other big point of issue that Twiggy Forrest has is not where the tax kicks in, it's depreciation. They are claiming the big miners negotiated a deal which will allow them to depreciate, like claim against their tax liability, the market value of their coal and iron ore assets. And they claim that is so big they'll pay no tax for 5 to 10 years. Now, that if this tax is such a stinker, that's the real thing you'd be going at to try and fix. And
now, just very quickly, if the mining tax then goes through, is Julia Gillard able to claim that I said this would be the year of delivery mission accomplished?
Oh, look, on balance, she's done a few things. There's still a few things that the asylum seekers is still a mess. The Murray-Darling Basin thing looks like it's going to turn into a mess in a couple of weeks.
Machines will still...
Pokies is out there, but look, they've got the carbon tax through. That's significant, designed and legislated. Mining tax will be a good way to finish the year, and they've sort of put that health reform thing, swept it under the rug and tidied it up. So
a year of some success.
I think on balance, they've done more than they haven't done.
OK, well, more with our panel shortly with Phil Currie, Gerard Henderson and Lenore Taylor, but now here's Mike Bowers and Talking Pictures.